Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. It has been a couple of months since I've done one of these Spurs chat videos, and I'm absolutely delighted to have three very special guests tonight. In tonight's video, we will be talking about new manager Nuno Espírito Santo, new sporting director Fabio Paratici. We have three new signings: Brian Hill, Pierluigi Golini and Christian Romero. Lots of players have gone out the door, including Gareth Bale and Carlos Vinicius from their respective loans. We'll be talking about the Harry Kane situation. Will he stay or will he go? We've just played 5 pre-season friendlies, 3 wins and 2 draws. And in today's video, as I said, 3 fantastic guests. Now let's introduce them. Lee, let's start with you. How's your summer been?
Very good, actually, Chris. Thanks for having me back on. Hello, evening, watchers, listeners, viewers, wherever you are in the world. Really, really joyful to be back on. Summer's been okay so far, and long may it continue. The season starts. Can you believe it? In 5 days' time, and there's still lots and lots of work to do. I think Paratici or Paratici, whichever way you want to go with, Fabio. He's still on his phone somewhere, so let's see what he can muster up over the next couple of weeks.
Now we've also got Craig with us, channel regular, and Craig, have your ears got back to normal after the night with Gary?
Oh God, yeah. I hope Gary's watching. It was very pleasurable to meet people and to see people in the flesh, so to speak. And it was lovely to meet Gary and of course be yourself. And we saw our mate Fabio, didn't we? And I saw you had your arm around him again the other night, Chris. You people start talking. I tell you. But what a guy! What a guy! It's that was a great night at MK Dons, great performance. And I tell you what, I'm sure we'll get into it, but I'm beginning to get a little bit excited about the season. I know it was only a friendly against Arsenal, but a win's a win.
Today is to do.
Absolutely, mate. And just to see how fit the players were, I was really, really, it filled me with a bit of hope for the season, if I'm honest. So I'm sure we'll get into it. But yeah, I'm all good. Thank you very much. And it's good to be back. That's why,
by the way, that's why Fabio's on his phone all the time. He's texting Chris Cowlin.
He's a wonderful guy, actually. He really is. We'll come on to that. Let's introduce Melvin, of course, Tottenham Hotspur fan, regular on this channel, and a fan from Malta. Now, Melvin texted me earlier and said, really looking forward to this chat, energetic and positive. Is that how you're feeling, Melvin?
Yeah, these signings, it's funny how we went being so negative and it was so miserable and we didn't really have a vision or a direction of the club. But now I can see it. You could see it. You could see where we're going, and it's only upwards, an upward trajectory. You could see the way the players are moving. There's energy, and yeah, I'm extremely excited. And we're in the Nuno era, we're in the Fabio Paratici era, and I'm excited. And from day to day, I'm always on Twitter checking what's going on and who we're being linked with, and it's just, the players keep getting bigger and bigger, and the fees look like they're getting bigger and bigger. And only a couple of weeks more till the transfer window is open, and hopefully we get the business done. And I'm sure we're going to talk about it. And yeah, I'm just excited, and to have our Tottenham back, our exciting flowing football, goals, and whatever happens this season, I'm just excited, to see the boys back and playing, the Tottenham way.
Now, Lee, let's come to you. First of all, we're going to talk about new boss, Nuno Espírito Santo. Now, one thing I absolutely love about you, from first watching you on The Apprentice to now being a very good friend of mine and a regular on this channel, you're always so upbeat about Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. How are you feeling about the appointment of Nuno Espírito Santo? Because, of course, all of us Tottenham fans waited 70 days for a new boss.
Shocking. Absolutely awful. No, I'm joking. Everyone's face, they're like, what are you talking about? No, look, I'm with Craig on this one. I am starting to get again a bit loving the Tottenham back. Like Melvin just said, we're playing some front foot football. We've got a plan. It feels like we're going somewhere. There's another project, if you like, that we can kind of get our hands around and start to get behind. I think that's exactly what we needed. I've been on your channel a few times, Chris, and obviously last word on Spurs as well, where I regular on there talking about this very subject. And that's absolutely what the club lacked. The club lacked a direction, a plan, somewhere to go, and the fans couldn't identify. I mean, you think about where we've been. Like you just said, 70 odd days before we even appointed a manager. But look, Nuno's in the hot seat. There's no doubt about it that he probably wasn't a choice. If we're all honest, 70-80% of Spurs faithful probably wouldn't have chosen him. He definitely wasn't first choice, second choice, third choice, maybe fourth choice. Who knows what choice he was? But the reality is, he's in the hot seat, and as far as I can tell, he's doing a great job. There's, Jose Mourinho is very out there. He's flamboyant. He's got his armour on. He wants to come and kick a few doors in, essentially. And Nuno seems like he's the complete opposite to that. He's a man, put your arm around the shoulder, get people praying for him, believe in the project. This is why we're doing this. This is what we're doing. I mean, you've only got to look at Romero's comments to say, I really believe in this project. This is why I wanted to come here. You've only got to look at Son signing a 4-year contract to say, I love this football club. I want to be here and I want to win trophies for these fans and for Tottenham. So, you look at them two players in particular and everyone else as well, the way Højbjerg spoke after the game the other day against Arsenal. And it is buoyant. It is like we've turned a corner. I remember speaking to you on the Love Sport show, Chris, just after Champions League final, and you're so vocal about spending and using this as an opportunity after the Champions League final to go out and do something. And we didn't do that. And you said to me off air, you said, Lee, something's not right. It don't feel right. Something's going to go pear-shaped. And look what just happened for the last 2 years. Now it feels different to that, doesn't it, Chris? It feels like that we are almost, dare I say, on the way up again rather than on the way down. I think for anyone that's been in sport or in business or in life in general, sometimes in order to get better, you've got to hit the bottom. And hopefully we've already hit the bottom and now we can move forward.
Lee, just one thing. Don't start telling people what I say off air.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I'll keep the rest of it to myself then.
Craig, let's come to you now. I did a couple of videos with you a couple of months back when we were talking and, we're in talks with the likes of Antonio Conte, Gattuso, lots of managers mentioned. How are you feeling about Nuno Espírito Santo as our new boss?
Yeah, I think, as I said when we went MK Dons, to be honest, I've been really pleased with what I've seen so far, to be honest, with him. The main thing for me is something we touched on at the end of the season. The players didn't look fit. They kind of got to 75, 80 minutes and then died, and our results probably showed that. But Sunday, especially Sunday against Arsenal, we just kept going and going and going. It was more like under Poch, in my opinion. It was really good to see. And you could see the players were actually sweating, for want of a better word. It looked like they were actually putting the miles in, putting the effort in. We were famed under Poch for running the most distance, I think, in games, certainly over those 2 really good seasons we had. Likes of Eriksen, Ali. I know Ali gets a lot of stick. I thought he played okay Sunday. I would love to see the stats of how much ground he covered. But again, I think they've gone back to this fitness. They're doing the double sessions. I think he's got that right. Everything he's saying, when I hear him in press conferences, he seems to be saying the right things. The players seem to be buying into what he's got to offer. And hey, look, it's early days. It's very early days. And, I'm sure we'll get into it in about 3 months' time and see where we are. But for me, he's made the best of. It's not a bad situation, but you know what I mean. He was, like Lee said, he's 5th, 6th, 7th choice. But he's come into the job. He's got the job, and I'm sure he's going to give everything. And something that resonates with me, something he said right at the end when Spurs released that little video. He said, "We're going to make you proud," and he said it twice. We're going to make you proud, and I think that's all the Spurs fans could ask for. So if he does that, then he's half the way to success in my book, because he gets the fans back on the side. Hopefully this Kane saga will be put to bed one way or the other in the next week or so, and we can move on, look forward to the season, and I'm certainly behind him.
Melvin, let's come to you. We do need to feel proud again, don't we? Because it has been a very, very negative 18 months, 2 years, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I think I mentioned this a couple of videos ago that I think during when we sacked Jose and we were looking for managers and Kane was leaving, I went to the beach and I had my Spurs towel with me. And you know what? I put the Spurs logo the other way around because I didn't want anyone to talk to me about Spurs. I was so embarrassed at the time and it was so negative and I had such a bad feeling about the club. I still love the club. and followed it every single second, and woke up thinking about it, went to bed thinking about it. But at that time, it was such a negative energy around the whole thing, and the Super League thing, and I just didn't want to talk about Tottenham to anyone. I didn't want people to come and approach me. So I grabbed the towel with the Spurs logo and I put it face down. But now it's the other way around. I'm starting to be proud again, and hopefully, in the beginning of the season, if results don't go our way, straight away, I still believe at the end of the season, or it's going to take us time, like Pochettino when he first came in, to bed in his philosophy. We didn't hit the ground running with Pochettino. It took us time, but we still believed in the system, and I think that's probably what's going to happen. We won't get that 4 wins on the bounce that we probably want. You know what I mean? It's going to take us time. We need to be patient with the team and just give our full support and believe in the boys and believe in Nuno, and if they taught us anything, this style of football, the energy and the work rate, it will work in the Premier League, and it will work for us, and we have the players to do it. And I think with the recruitment giving us a hand this year, because it seems in the last couple of years recruitment didn't really give us a hand, and the players we brought in didn't really improve the squad. But I think Nuno with Fabio Paratici, I think it's a very, very good combination.
Well, that brings me perfectly on to come to Lee. Lee, as a very successful businessman and, of course, former winner of the BBC show The Apprentice, how important do you think that this business changes for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club by Daniel Levy bringing in Fabio Paratici?
Well, I think all of it already. You can see the massive difference. I mean, we have so struggled in getting players. I say getting players out of the club. It feels like we were trying to slap them out the door almost. So I don't mean it in that way, but moving players on. We struggle to move players on. Since Paratici or Paratici, I'm just calling him Fabio. Fabio's coming to the club. We've managed to get £31 million worth of wages in the next in the forthcoming season off the wage bill. People are coming out of the club that we didn't want in the football club anymore. You can look at the Danny Rose situation, but Toby Alderweireld didn't want to be here, so he moved him on. Eric Lamela has moved him on. Danny Rose moved him on. Bale is a big part of that. I'm not sure that I, for one, wanted him there, definitely. But obviously with the wages and whatever else, he's been moved on. So there's still a lot of work to do. So I think that what we're seeing, I said this the other day to a few of the lads in the WhatsApp group, like, Romero is massive. It's a massive signing. Like, when did we just go, oh, we need another centre-back? As Tottenham fans, did we just spat 50 million on Romero? Like the Serie A Defender of the Year. This is huge for Tottenham. And obviously overshadowed by some of the other news that we've been hearing and seeing and all that sort of stuff, which obviously we'll give you an update on in a bit. But, the club is moving in a direction where I think we wanted to see that. And I think Fabio has been a huge part of that. Look, there's still a lot of work to do. Don't get me wrong, I'm with Craig and Melvin. Let's not get carried away. But it's okay, fans and viewers, it's okay to be positive. It's okay to feel, do you know what? I'm looking forward to something again. I think all of us can be happy to look forward to something after the 18 months that we've all had, not just in football terms, but in kind of, where we've been. So it's okay to feel happy and look forward to something. And I'm looking forward to it. And I think Fabio has brought a bit of optimism back, I don't want to call them deadwood, Chris. I think that's a bit disrespectful, but having players just kicking around for the sake of it, there's still some work to do, but that's not good for morale. It's not good for the football club. It's not good for the team. And in any, like you talk about business or whatever, in any team, in any business scenario, if you've got people that don't want to be there, that is a difficult situation to manage. I will caveat all of that, of course, by the Kane situation. He is the best striker in the world, in my opinion. And for him, you make exceptions. But for the likes of Sergio Aurier, who every year comes out and says, I want to move on. For the likes of Toby Alderweireld, who's been an amazing player for us, but wanted to move on. For the likes of Moussa Sissoko, that kind of is just still kicking around. Or Danny Rose, press release after press release, wanting to leave the football club. You've got to move these players on. I think Fabio's doing that well.
You know what, Craig, let's come to you. Fabio Craschi has been in the job just 5 weeks, started officially on the 1st of July. 3 signings in, Brian Hill, Golini and Romero, and 3 players out during his time there, Lamela, Toby Alderweireld and Joe Hart. What have you made of his time so far, 5 weeks?
I think he's done an incredible job so far, to be honest with you. Really has, really surprised me, but you can just feel that there's a bit more of an element of professionalism about it. I'm not doing down Steve Hitchen at all. I know he's been ridiculed a little bit, and we've probably had a few bits to say about him on here, but whatever he's doing and his contacts, my God, to hear the other day that we were one of the first clubs to contact Lionel Messi's representatives when he left. I mean, I know, if you saw my Twitter and Instagram, I posted that joke picture of him holding up the shirt. I mean, God, can you imagine if he'd somehow got that over the line? Jesus. I mean, that would have been amazing, but of course he's gone PSG. Formidable strike force there, by the way. Oh, he could have had it all, couldn't he, coming to us? He's never won the European Conference League, and he had the chance to win it with us, and he's blown it. So, he's done in my book. Anyway, Paratici, yeah, he seems to be. Alderweireld was a strange one for me, getting rid of him. I can see why he wanted to go, and I can see why they were happy to let him go. I just thought that they might have tried to convince him to stay for another year because we're still in a bit of transition, especially in defence. Did they know the Romero deal's going to go through? Probably. Happy to get his wages off the book. He's probably on a big wage. So, getting rid of a few other players, which apparently he's not as good at getting rid of players as he is getting them in. But he seems to have moved. He's got Lamela out the door, which some people were happy with, some people wouldn't have been. I was ambivalent. I thought he had something to offer, but it didn't really upset me to see Lamela go. I think he's been a good servant. I think whenever he comes back to the club, he'll get a lovely reception. I'm pretty sure of that. Same with Alderweireld. But there's still a few players that need to go. I think we've all got our own opinions on it, but I think mainly we could agree on the players we think do need to be moved on. But he's certainly going about it the right way, Chris, I would say. And in the coming weeks, I think it's really going to ramp up this week. I think we'll see a bit more movement, and it'll be interesting to see if we can get Martinez over the line as well. And if he can do that and give us a right back, another centre back, and dare I say it, a playmaker, wow, what a window.
Now, I don't know whether any of you saw my video, the fan cam video of the Arsenal game on Sunday, but I was right behind the Tottenham Hotspur subs, and Fabio Paratici and Steve Hitchen, they both come down, and the whole of the game, they were sat amongst the subs. And I tell you what, Fabio, every single time a Tottenham Hotspur player lost the ball or made a missed pass or anything negative to do with that game, he was going absolutely mad. He was going more mad than a Tottenham Hotspur fan. I tell you what, he is so involved in the club right now. And as I said, 5 weeks at the club, and he's got his foot, he's well under the table there, and very, very much involved in there. Melvin, what have you made of his time so far?
When he came in, we had concerns, that he's going to be a yes man to Daniel Levy. He's going to come in and but the Romero deal, I think, convinced me that he's not a yes man, because he came in and Daniel Levy didn't want Nuno, but he convinced him of Nuno. He came in and you hear reports that the Romero deal was stalling and there was massive gaps between evaluation of the player, but he got it over the line. So, it's starting to convince me that, Fabio isn't a yes man. He's not going to say yes to Daniel Levy, and, he's going to make him aware that, we need this signing. We need him over the line. If you pay the extra 10 million, we need him this season. He's going to, change the defense. He's potentially could get us back into the Champions League, and it's worth spending the extra 5 million, the extra 6 million, whatever. Just get him into the club. We need him. And, the way the club is moving and the way we're operating with being links with these players I've never heard of. And all of a sudden I think, oh, that signing makes sense. I've never heard of him before. That signing could make sense. He's got this radar that, probably Steve Hitchen, our club, didn't have the contacts that he has. I've been very impressed. And you know, if we can continue this way and keep strengthening, you know, the positions that we need, I think we will be very, very, you know, we'll challenge and we'll be successful this year. I don't know if we'll win trophies, and I don't know if that's something you wanted to talk about today.
21 minutes in, and the word trophies come up. Amazing.
Yeah, it's possible because, you know, the season you don't think you might. Last season we thought we were going to win one and we didn't, and the season you think you'll have a bad one could turn out to be a really, really good one because the fans' expectations are low, the club is rebuilding, but we weren't, in my opinion, we weren't that far off to begin with. I think I mentioned a few times that one signing, one Van Dijk-esque signing, which I think we've made, could, you know, transform this team. We're not that far off. We're only, and also the players look extremely fit. You know, I think Oliver Skip playing instead of Ndombele, you know, Skip's energy and Skip's work rate, I think it will really, really help. It's something that we've been missing. And with game after game, I get more and more excited about Oliver Skip, and I'm ready to give up on Ndombele, to be honest. We have a 65 million signing already, and he's called Ollie Skip. You know, he's probably worth that money. Give him a couple more seasons, and he'll have the armband.
It's interesting. Melvin, just to interrupt you for that, it's interesting. We're getting a lot of comments on the show at the minute about that exact subject, Tunga and Ndombele, and actually what we do with him or what we should do with him. And you know, I think there's no doubt there's a talent in there, isn't there, guys and viewers around Tunga and Ndombele, but we just haven't seen it. This is his third season done. We just have not seen it. This is a guy that's 3 years into his contract. He's picking up over 200 grand a week. What has he actually done? He's picked up against Sheffield United. He ain't done nothing, this fella. And he needs to step up or he needs to ship out.
It's so frustratingly, isn't it? Because we all know what qualities he has. He started off very well on his debut against Aston Villa, but he's now been under 3 managers, and they have all done exactly the same. They've all left him out of squads because of problems, because of fitness issues.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting what Fabio, I'm sure it's going to be his decision in the end, if it's going to be to move him on or if we're going to keep him and give him another chance. Yeah. It's going to be interesting because he needs to make these calls.
Big talk, wasn't there, last season about Inter Milan being very interested in Tunga and Ndombele, and if they still are, if there's an interest still there with the money they've got floating about, maybe from Lukaku, maybe there's some sort of swap deal with Martinez going on there. You know, we're getting the comments at the moment that Paratici or Paratici is still cooking. You know, maybe that's what's going on in the background because, you know, I for one, I want Tunga and Ndombele to work out at Tottenham. I think he could be brilliant, but how many times do you want to keep saying he could be? Now, I know he's just become a father for the first time. You know, I've got 3 girls, so I know what it's like to be a father and have children, and I'm sure some of you guys haven't or whatever, and the viewers can relate to that. But not being funny, it doesn't take 3 months, 4 months to bed in with a new child. Like you're back at work, paternity leave, you're back at work after 2 weeks. So I just think that he needs to work harder, and he's just not. He's just not got it in him to do that. I just don't think if we keep Tunga and Ndombele, I just don't ever think that he fits in a Tottenham shirt. I'm afraid. What do you think? What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Definitely. Sorry. There's just something always for me been intrinsic. Something wrong with him and Ndombele, and whether that be his work rate, mentally, I think it's a mental thing with him because he's got the most skill of any player in our squad, in my opinion. When he turns it on, my God, if he gets the ball in the middle of the park, he can just do a step over and breeze away from people, just like Dembele used to do. But he's passing, that part, when he gets his passing going, slipping balls inside to Kane or Son or whoever, he's got the potential to be the best player in the Premier League, in my opinion, if he commits to it. And I put him up there if he wanted it badly enough with the De Bruyne's and that. And now people might mock me for saying that, but I tell you what, he's one of the most skillful players I've ever seen. He just doesn't do it often enough. He doesn't seem like he cares. You can see when Dyer wiped him out, in the
in the
open training session. You know, most players would just get up and get on with it, and he moaned and kicked up water bottle or something. And whatever. I get that, but you know, that's not what the fans wanted to see. Just get up and skin him again. That's what the fans would want to see, and then laugh at him as he runs past him. He's got it in you know, he's got it in. He's got more skill than any other person in that squad, I tell you, and he just doesn't use it. We haven't seen enough, and like Lee said, how long do you give him? Do we get rid? If somebody come in with a 40 million bid for him, would you accept it? Personally, I would, because I think there's better players out there. And as Melvin said, Oliver Skipp, you know, not the same type of player, but him and Højbjerg, if they stay fit, got a chance to protect that back four.
And do you know what, Craig? I completely agree. I think that this summer and this season, we need to be very ruthless in our actions and, you know, stop being sentimental about players. If they're not going to perform now, you know, we need to offload them and we need to reinvest this money into other players. Melvin, let's come to you. Neil Davis writes on the screen now, Japhet Tanganga must stay, no loan, improve this season. Now, there's been lots of reports stating that, you know, clubs are coming in for him, you know, possible loan. Me personally, you know, although we've signed Christian Romero, we haven't got enough defensive reinforcements. I know the transfer window is open for another 3 weeks, but until we do sign more defenders, I personally would like to see Japhet Tanganga stay, because as we've seen, he can play left back, he can play right back, he can play in the centre, and as we saw on Sunday, a great assist for Heung-min Son.
Yeah, you know, he's one of them players that hasn't, you know, hit his ceiling yet. He's still young, and he's still improving. You know, since he come on, he's been extremely unlucky with the injuries that he's had. You know, I felt that last season he didn't really put a run of games in, and you know, he was coming in and out of the team. You know how Jose is. When we lose, all of a sudden you don't play for another 2-3 weeks, and it really hinders your momentum and your growth as a player. And I think he could be, you know, like a Danny Rose, Kyle Walker type player if he gets a run of games in, if he plays consistently all season, and he still has room to grow as a player. And he, you know, he's strong, he's powerful, he loves the club. He's been at the club since a very, very young age. And, you know, the players like him, players like Ryan Mason, you know, Andros Townsend, they play for the shirt. You can tell they play, they give you everything. And he's still a young player. I'd like to keep him at the club. Hopefully he has a season where he's not injured and he gets 6-7 games in a row and he plays. He just needs minutes to develop, you know, into a player that he is. And I like him as a player. He played very, very well against Arsenal, and I think it was the type of performance to show Nuno, listen, I'm here. This is my position. I want to play here. You know, don't give it to Doherty. Don't give it to Serge. We don't need a new right back, even though we probably might sign Tomiyasu, I believe. And it's a statement performance. And if he plays against City and we keep a clean sheet and he plays well, you know, he'll probably be one of the first players on the right back position. So to me, it's a no-brainer. He has things to play for. He has motivation and motives, and hopefully he takes the opportunity and will be a good player for us, you know, for the next 4 or 5 years.
Lee, now on Sunday we beat Arsenal 1-0 in the North London derby. Of course, a friendly. Most use that word friendly. But you know, pre-season, 3 wins, 2 draws, wins against MK Dons, Colchester and Arsenal, and then draws against Leyton Orient and Chelsea. What have you made of pre-season, and how confident are you feeling for this coming season?
Yeah, I think that with all due respect, I think the results are, especially against the lower league clubs, I think the results are immaterial. I think it's about minutes, getting people fit, getting in the legs. I think that Nuno's used the academy players pretty well. You know, bringing them in and helping and getting people back to some sort of match full fitness. I think, you know, when you look at, and this isn't by all means just on Tottenham for sure, this is other top clubs that have had lots of involvement in the Euros. You know, Højbjerg and obviously Kane haven't even kicked a ball in earnest yet in training. Højbjerg only's had 1 or 2 training sessions, I think. You know, same with Hugo Lloris, etc., etc. So it's always going to be disjointed after a major tournament, especially if the teams are getting quite far in that tournament themselves. But I've been pretty pleased. I mean, I think that Craig hit nail on the head for me earlier, and a lot of comments about it as well. You know, the team looks fitter, the lads look fitter. You know, there was rumblings under Jose that people were coming out and they were doing kind of, you know, 2/3 training sessions almost. Do you know what I mean? Half training sessions. Whereas under Poch, we're doing double training sessions. You know, I remember being at the New Lane, and we were really struggling against Brighton as a couple of seasons ago. And I think it was the 93rd minute I was sitting, and most of the fans had, you know, a lot of the South Stand had cleared out, and I was still sitting there waiting. And Ericsson popped up right before the death and scored the winner. And we used to go to the end, you know. Remember the Harry Winks goal and all that sort of stuff against Fulham, and you know, like really like right at the end under the Poch scenario. So you know, Lucas Moore against Barcelona in the Champions League league rounds, you know, preliminary rounds and stuff, and that was a lot, you know, right to the death. So I don't think we really saw that. I think we saw the reverse of that under Jose Mourinho, you know, letting 3-0 leads against West Ham slip, and letting, you know, Newcastle back into it with silly penalties and stupid free kicks, and it almost felt like a concentration levels weren't there after 80 minutes almost. So really pleasing to see them fit up. I'm pleased around the pre-season friendly. The only thing I would say is I'm still not convinced. I think the front four that he's been playing, so Lucas, Bergie, Son and Dele, I think there's no doubt that all four of them are going to start on Saturday, on Sunday, in my opinion, because of he's used them the whole way through pre-season. But I'm still not convinced the type of system he's going to play. He's been playing a 4-3-3, isn't he? So with the ball, and a 4-2-3-1 essentially without the ball. So he's been trying to mix that up. But I'm not completely convinced, you know, when everybody's back fit and we've got the signings that we actually want through the door, how he's going to play. Considering he played a back three with Doherty and obviously Reguilon in our side now. Them two could play really well as kind of wing backs in a system that he played at Wolves. I'm not convinced how he's going to set up yet. So that would be my only kind of, not worry, but that would be my only kind of thing about, you know, where we're going to go. But in the main, I think it's been a good pre-season, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Very positive, very positive. Craig, what have you thought of the 5 pre-season games?
Yeah, you can never read too much into pre-season. Obviously, I think a few seasons ago, my West Ham friends told me that West Ham won all their pre-season game and got relegated. Shame, but no, you know, it's been good. It's just been good. It's been about fitness. At the end of the day, it's just been about fitness and seeing the player relationships on the pitch. As he's played the front four that Lee mentioned now a bit more together. Getting that, you know, they should be gelling. They've known each other for enough time now. I'd like to see, but I feel so sorry for Bergwijn. You see how much he tries. He just needs a run of goals, and hopefully he'll get back to how he was when we first signed him. But I just come back to it. It's the fitness levels for me. You know, if you can keep going and going and going to the 93rd, 95th minute, and other teams are dying, again, I'll repeat it, it takes you back to that Poch era. And I think it's been an encouraging pre-season, and I'm not going to get carried away with it, but it's been encouraging. I thought the Chelsea game was, you know, a lot of changes in the second half, and you could say we got back into it because Chelsea made the changes. I mean, it wasn't particularly great first half from what I remember. But, you know, at the end of the day, there's no pictures on the scorecard, as they say in golf. And it's the same with football. That will go down as a draw, and the Arsenal game will go down as a win. And it's just been encouraging to me. It's more encouraging than last year's pre-season from what I can remember anyway. So long may it continue. And I think we've got a really, really good chance on Sunday against City. And I'll be brutally honest with you, I don't think I'd have been saying that mid-May when the season finished. If you said to me you got City first game, I'd have been, oh God, no. I think we've got a chance. We'll do.
Do you know what, Craig? The only worry I have from pre-season, these 5 games that we've played, is that first half at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea. I thought that was very, very worrying. The amount of goals that Chelsea could have scored. I know we're trying to make this into an extremely positive chat, but that first 45 minutes against Chelsea was very, very worrying for me. You know, to come up against a good side, you know, players who can score goals, players who can create goals, they could have had an absolute hatful. So, Melvin, let's come to you. Is it a worry that you know, it's being reported that Christian Romero, our new signing, our new centre-back, is not going to be facing Manchester City on Sunday. It's looking like it's going to be the same back four as last season.
Yeah, it's obviously disappointing, but what can you do? If he's carrying a knock from Copa America, it is what it is. It's unlucky, it's unfortunate, but, you know, the season is 38 games. If we lose against City, the first game of the season, it's not the end of the world. You know, the seasons we got into the top four, we always got to extremely, really, really good start. But, you know, it's a shame, obviously, that he can't play. I would love to see him play against, you know, Arsenal, to get minutes in, to get fitness. Ideally, that's what would have happened, but it's just not the case. And, you know, Dyer and Sanchez didn't play that poorly either. You know, Sanchez apparently has very, very high confidence coming back from the tournament, playing for his country. And, you know, who knows, maybe he'll have a very, very good game against City. Dyer had a good game against City in the League Cup final. And, you know, it's the first game of the season. Players are still coming back from their international tournament. City have players missing. We have players missing, and you just don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know. It's going to take some patience. If we lose the first couple of games this season, it's not the end of the world. It's going to take time for these players to learn Nuno's system and even gather that really, really, you know, 90 minutes fitness that Pochettino had the players playing a couple of seasons ago. I think it takes time, and it just feels like it's going to take until September, beginning of October, to properly get you know the full team settled, all the signings settled. You know, the ones that are still to leave, the ones that are still to arrive. You know, we're still trying to get rid of Sissoko and Winks and the right back situation, and it's still pretty unsettled squad. You know, the Harry Kane situation is still not settled, but it's going to take time. And I think once all of that is settled and Nuno knows, you know, his squad and the team, and the team has a few games under its belt, and, you know, we get a couple of wins on the bounce, that's when we really start to kick on. It's a shame that we play some of the big teams straight away, but hopefully, you know, we have a couple of games, you know, Watford and Newcastle, and you know, we need to win these games and get some momentum and get some confidence in the team. And if we can beat City, I think it would be amazing. It would do so much good for the team. If players like Bergwijn can get a goal or an assist, players like Dele Alli, you know, get a goal early on in the season for his confidence. I think these type of players, we need them this season. You know, we've lost Gareth Bale, who had 10 goals last season in the Premier League, or close to that figure. And we're going to need someone, you know, to pick up those numbers. You know, we don't have Harry Kane, or we might have Harry Kane. I don't know. But Son alone cannot do it. We need players, these type of players, to, you know, and Lucas as well. You know, we need Lucas to get close to 10 goals this season, or close to 8 or 9 assists. We need these players to step up. You know, it's the time to step up. And the same with Lo Celso. There's many players that need to, you know, be productive and contribute with goals and assists. That's why I feel we're trying to get rid of Sissoko and Winks and possibly Lamela, because they didn't offer enough. They weren't productive enough. They didn't defend properly. They didn't contribute anything going forward. So we need these players to really step up this season. And I think if they can do along with Son and along with Kane, we can do good things, and we can hit that, you know, 70. How many goals do we need? How many points do we need to secure top 4? 72. 72. We need that minimum. That's what we need to be looking at this season. You know, top 4, push as high as we can. You know, every single game we need to die for those points.
Just on that, Melvin, like 10 years, I've done a lot of this stuff with the blue book on the other stuff that I do, to be fair. So, you know, the average points to get in the top 4, you're spot on, is 72 points over the 10-year average. To get top 5 is 68. To get top 6 is 63 points. And actually, it's been a lot lower than that over the last couple of seasons, if you think about it as well. Look, from a positivity perspective, to all the viewers out there as well, go and have a look at the facts. We were 5 points off the top 4 this season. That is a shocking result against Aston Villa because of the Kane news and the Gary Neville interview broke just before that game. No one can tell me that didn't affect us. It was an absolutely shocking result. It's the first time fans were allowed back in the stadium as well. We should have won that game, and that's the 3-0 up against West Ham. 9 minutes to go, and we drew 3-3. You put them points back in the mixer, we're in the top 4. And that was after an absolute shocking season last year in everybody's mind. So, I think there is definitely room for hope and for optimism because, if the players that Paratici's moved on and Nuno's moved on out of the club, the players that were coming in with a fresh attitude, a good new project, this is where we can go after. Like Craig said about the fitness thing, it only takes the right attitude and desire, to push you on another 5%. And if everybody can do that, plus with new signings coming in, I think we've got a chance. There's no doubt we've got a chance. Look, we were challenging a few years ago for the league. We were challenging a few years ago, just only 2 seasons ago, in the Champions League final, right? Yes, we've fallen away from that. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to kid anyone here. But we still, last year, like it or not, if the negatives out there, we were challenging for the top 4. We were top of the league in December, top of the league. I don't think we were ever top of the league under Pochettino as long as we was top of the league under Mourinho. Mental stat, but that's one of the true ones. So I think that there's a lot to be optimistic about, Chris, to be fair.
Lee, talk about the 3 signings that we've made so far, because I'll be honest, I was very surprised when we signed a goalkeeper first. I was very surprised when we signed a winger second. We all know we need defensive reinforcements. Of course, Christian Romero has come in. A perfect window for me now would be another centre-back, would be a right-back, a creative midfielder, and a backup striker to Harry Kane. Or indeed, if Harry Kane does leave, we need 2 strikers. I've said this on this channel many, many times, certainly in the last couple of days, that I really feel like we missed out on Danny Ings. And I know you're a big Danny Ings fan as well.
Massive.
In your opinion, Lee, what have you made of these 3 signings so far, and what else do we need to go into this coming season?
Well, I think just quickly on Danny Ings, absolute massive fan, proper Premier League player, get goals, assists, his work rate. I did a statistics analysis on Danny Ings and Harry Kane a few seasons ago, not last season, season before. Danny Ings had, I think, one of his best seasons for Southampton, and not only just from goals and assists and his attacking play, but actually his defending as well. If you wanted to map a player that was a similar ilk to Kane, look, I'm saying similar, right? There's no one on Kane's level, in my opinion, but from a similar ilk, it would have been Danny Ings. So to see that he can move on for 25 million, I think we should have been all over that. Personally, I think we should have been all over that. But trust what the project, trust what's going on. Paratici's cooking, so he knows what he's doing. I think the signings. I think with Brian Hill is an exciting signing. I think that we, as Spurs fans, we probably like his style of play. I think we're going to like, what he can do. He'd drop a shoulder, almost like an old-fashioned winger, if I can say that. Drop a shoulder, take a play on, that type of stuff. But I think also as Spurs fans, we have a tendency to put too much pressure on him, expect him to start Man City, score, a couple of goals, whatever. I'm not sure that's going to be the case. So, you have to give him time. He's only a young lad. I think Galini really impressed me. Craig and Chris, you mentioned earlier about the first half of Chelsea, and they could have scored a hatful. But if it wasn't Galini, they probably would have. He was really impressive for me. I think what really impressive as well is I love partnerships. So I think sport that you're playing, or team sport that you're playing, it's about having partnerships as well as that camaraderie and that trust within the team. So actually to have partnerships around the pitch, such as Galini in goal, knowing Romero in front of him, I think is huge. I think that is not only the single signings on each other, but them coming to the club as together. They've just played with each other at Atalanta, so they know each other quite well. I think that's really impressive. And then obviously Romero, just touched upon him, an absolute outstanding signing. This guy needs to be our Virgil van Dijk, as Melvin said earlier, our Ruben Diaz. He needs to be that. I think he is that. I think he can be that. Man, please do not be our Fazio. Please do not be our Vlad Chiriches, right? We don't want that. We don't want another Soldado moment. We want somebody that's going to come in and just make a difference. And for everybody doubting, one man can't make a difference. Well, Virgil van Dijk did. You know, they sold Coutinho and signed Van Dijk and Alisson, and they made a massive difference to Liverpool. Huge difference. If you look at when Jurgen Klopp went into that football club and he had star player in terms of Coutinho and lots of different players. You look at all the players that he's got there now. I think there's only one or two that actually played under Jurgen Klopp in his first few seasons. In his first few games in his first season. And that was the kind of rebuilding job, or the clear out, if you like, that Liverpool had to do. We're on that journey. People always say, oh, no, we're on the same journey as Liverpool. We're not. We are a journey behind them. Does that make sense? You know, yes, we got into the Champions League final against them, but they were one cycle ahead of where we are. So we're in that rebuilding phase and moving on players. And over the last 3 seasons, you know, Chris, you're the man that tells me all the time, 518 days that we didn't make a signing. No, I understand that, but we've spent 145 million, I think, 2 seasons ago, about another 120 million or whatever it was last season. And we're spending money again this season, 65 million on Dembele, 45 million on the Celso, 50 million again on Romero. So people can't sit there and say to me, we don't spend the money. We didn't for 518 days, but we're now in a position where we are spending the money. And I just think it is an opportunity to, like the lads have said, to be fair, to get behind the team and go for it, because we weren't that far away last year. We are improving the squad. We're getting rid of some of the players that we don't want to be there or they don't want to be there, and that can only be a positive thing. I think. So look, I agree with you. We do need to replace the players that we've had let go. Moussa Dembele, you can argue, was never replaced. You can argue that up until Reguilon coming into the side, Danny Rose, after he got injured or whatever, never really replaced. Jan Vertonghen hasn't been replaced. You can argue Christian Eriksen hasn't been replaced. So there is still some work to do. And, you know, I don't like this backup striker thing. I swear you said that on purpose. I hate that backup striker because there shouldn't be a backup. It should be just another striker. You know,
do you know why I say that, Lee? Do you know why I say that? Because when I think back, Harry Kane, you know, whenever he's fit, he is going to be number one always in the squad and always in the starting 11. Now, when I think back of Fernando Llorente, even when Fernando Llorente was available and Harry Kane was out, Pochettino then went for Heung-min Son up front instead. And then, of course, Carlos Vinicius, you know, he had very limited opportunities, certainly in the Premier League under Jose Mourinho. And now, if Harry Kane is staying and he's a number one striker, and we're going to be playing only one up front, so it'd be interesting to see whether Nuno, like you said earlier, what formation he will play, whether he will want 2 up front, whether we will go out and sign that second striker.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to spend 60 million on Martinez and then sit him on the bench. Well, that's something that's not going to happen at Tottenham, and so therefore he's going to play. So therefore, you know, seems to me that Paratici or Nuno is going to start playing 2 up front. Because Kane is your main man. So you're not going to sit Kane on the bench, are you?
Do you know what, Lee? I'm doubting whether we're going to be spending 60, 70 million pounds or euros on a player to play alongside Harry Kane, because I'm thinking, where on earth is all this money coming from? I know we're going to speak about Harry Kane very shortly. Craig, let's come to you and talk about the new signings. What have you made of these new signings? Because as Lee said earlier, I feel that this Christian Romero signing is a good signing for the club.
Yeah, he's definitely very excited, and so glad we've got him over the line, because been crying out for defensive reinforcements at centre back for a long time now. You know, Vertonghen was never replaced. I'm not doing down Roden. It's just the fact Roden's different stages in his career than Jan was. You know, you got to remember, not so long ago, we had, in my opinion, the best back four in Europe. When you had Cole Walker, unbelievable player. You know my feelings on Cole Walker. When Danny Rose was in his pomp, and then Toby and Jan. And when Cole Walker left, that's when it all started to fall apart for me. So massive reinforcements, a rebuilding job needed. And Romero I think he's going to be a big player for us. I think the fan, you know, we're all getting excited. I just think we need to calm our expectations a bit and not certainly get on his, you know, if he has a run of games where he's not very good, the worst thing you can do, and we all do it, is, oh, what a waste of money he was. Look at the amount of money we paid for him. He's crap. You know, might as well have Dyer at the back. We've just got to temper our expectations, because he's coming from a league. He's coming into the Premier League. He's new to it. You know, everything's going to be new to him. He's going to take time to bed in. The goalkeeper, I thought it was a bit odd, like you said, Chris. I thought it was a bit odd that we signed a keeper, but then obviously perhaps they knew Gazzaniga was going to be moving on. This goalie was available. I like him straight from the off. I loved his passion, the way he was shouting at players. I tell you what, he's already, in my opinion, better than Lloris at. He's with his feet. I think he's very good, very confident with his feet. Even though Hugo's got better at it, he's very good with his feet. And from what I've seen of him so far, I think he is going to be Lloris's long-term successor. I don't know if anybody else picked up on it. He'd give, when Lloris went off on Sunday, he'd give Dyer a big cuddle on the pitch. And I was thinking to myself, oh, God, that's not him out the door, is it? Because it was just, I thought, why are you cuddling him in a friendly? Why are they taking him off after 70 minutes? Is it so? Oh, yeah, well, that kind of raised a red flag for me a little bit. I hope Hugo stays for one more season. Let's see how that plays out, because you hear rumours, you know, that he wants to obviously go back to France to finish his career. Let's hope we don't lose our captain. And Brian Hill, from what I've seen of him, I'd never heard of him, I'll be brutally honest with you. But as we've all done, I went down the YouTube rabbit hole and watched videos. And let's be honest, Sissoko looks great on a YouTube highlight reel. And Harry Winks looked fantastic on a YouTube highlight reel. But this kid, I'll tell you what, and please don't take this that I'm comparing him to Lionel Messi. I'm not saying that we've signed Lionel Messi, but there's something about the way he plays. He's very similar to how Messi plays. You know, quick feet. It's you know, his build is very similar to Messi. So I'm not saying that he's going to turn into the next Lionel Messi, but he excites me. He's that sort of, I guess, Waddle, Gascoigne, Ginola type player. Bale, you know, that sort of player that we've always loved at Tottenham. And again, temper our expectations with him. He's a young lad moving to a new country. It seems like Reguilon's a very good mate of his, so I'm sure he'll be helping him along in his career at Tottenham. Let him bed in, give him a bit of time. But I think the 3 signs we made so far are very, very encouraging.
Melvin, let's come to you. 3 weeks now, 3 weeks to the day until the transfer window ends. What else do Tottenham Hotspur need?
I don't know. I think the first step is to let go of a couple more players. I think, you know, Sissoko needs to go. The right backs, you know, Sergio Aurier needs to go. It's just a matter of time, I think. You know, the agents are working hard to find them new clubs. You know, if Hitchin and Daniel Levy can agree, you know, on a fee, it needs to be a sort of attitude of, you know, a 2-for-1 sale. You know, they need to get them out the door, off the wage book, like Lee said before. I think that's a massive bonus for the club. It frees up space for these big signings and these big players to come in. So if we can get, you know, the Japanese right back, Tomiyasu, and I don't know, maybe another central defender. And if there's still time and money left over, I don't know where this money's coming from. We need a striker to come play with Kane, hopefully. And I don't know. It depends, because you keep hearing rumors of other players here and there, and I just keep thinking, where's this money coming from? Where's this money coming from? And hopefully, it's not from the sale of Harry Kane. Just when I see more and more players being linked with like 25 million euro price tag or 30 million, 40 million, is like, it just scares me, because I keep thinking we're gonna sell Harry, and I just think we cannot replace, you know, 20 plus goals and 10 assists. We cannot replace them this window, and I just hope that these players are coming in to play along Harry Kane and the ones that we already have, and we just need a couple of players to move on, and I think we're not that far off of having a top 4 squad, because Nuno likes a small team already, and we already have most of the jigsaw puzzle. We just need, you know, the corner ones and a couple of center pieces, and we have it all, and we'll have enough to challenge, and maybe not win the league, maybe not win trophies, but we'll be in and amongst, and we're not in the Champions League. We're only in the Conference League. So, you know, the team will be refreshed for the Premier League. Maybe that's something positive for this season. Kane will be rested midweek. You know, we can play the youth. We can play what's his name, Dane Scarlett, and all the other boys, and we can play. And we have still Sessegnon, who we haven't even mentioned, and there's players who can play, and we'll play in Ndombele in the Conference League. I'm sure he can last 90 minutes playing against players. I have my friend.
He won't last 90 minutes. No, he won't last 90 minutes, no matter what league he's in. No chance.
One of my friends who I grew up with has a chance. They have one more match and they can qualify for the Conference League, and he might be playing in the group stages and possibly against Tottenham, which would be incredible. I'm really excited about that. Their team is Hamroon. Sorry, not Hamroon. Hibs. He's from Hibs. Hamroon got eliminated. He plays for Hibs. He's the centre back, and he actually got a toe injury in the last match. So if they win their next match, they could be possibly playing against Spurs and against Harry Kane, which absolutely blows my mind, because I know him very, very well, and I know what he's like, and I know what his fitness is like. And to think that he could be playing against Tottenham just blows my mind, and I hope it happens, But yeah, if
he'll still be fitter than Ndombele
for the Europa Conference League. Yeah,
well, don't worry, it'll run rings around him. Don't worry.
That is if Harry Kane is playing in the Europa Conference League, Melvin, because of course we all know there has been so many reports out in the last couple of weeks. Harry Kane wants Champions League football. Harry Kane wants to leave Tottenham Hotspur. Blah blah blah. We have heard all of these reports, hundreds and thousands of them. Lee, let's come to you now. There's a question on screen now from Real Raging Rhino, and it says, "Question for all four of you: is Harry Kane staying or going? Yes or no?"
Yes, he's staying. Do you want me to elaborate, or yeah?
Come on, Lee. Tell us what you've got.
So look, I mean, I'm hearing, and I heard actually last Saturday that that this new contract was on the table for him. It's one of the reasons why he wasn't back training with the squad. And I've got it on very, very good authority that is the case. I'm not professing to be one of these in the know type of people. It's not my style. But I'm just sharing with the fans what I've heard, and from the person has come up with the goods, and it's now you can see being reported all over this week. Today's coming out that there's rumours coming out that there's a new contract offer on the table for Harry. Yeah, I mean, I heard that very strongly from where I was hearing it from last Saturday. So I think there's definitely a contract on the table. I think that the reason why Harry hasn't come back to training is because the football club knew that he wasn't due back for training, because he was in talks with the club about this extension, or about this this extra part of the contract. And just like a lot of media was blown out of proportion around where is Harry Kane and what's actually happening with him and where he's going and what he's doing. Look, what I will say is it's clearly clear that he has had thoughts about going to Manchester City. It's clear that he wants to win trophies and he wants Champions League football. That is for certain. What's not clear to a lot of people in the media, and that's what's now coming out, is what's going to happen. And I think that he has. I think he's going to stay because he's got a new contract on the table, which that he's going to commit his future for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
You know what, Lee? If that is the case, and he signs this new deal, and it's like the Jack Grealish deal, isn't it? Aston Villa didn't want Jack Grealish to go, but he had the clause in his contract: if a team come in and they were a Champions League team and it was £100 million, then he could leave. Do you think it's going to be very similar to that type of contract, where Harry Kane has a contract stating if a team comes in and pays X, Y, and Z, he is free to leave?
Yeah, I think this is just my opinion, okay? All the viewers and everyone out there, so take this at face value. This is my opinion and what I've been hearing and so on and so forth, is that I think that obviously he's signed a 6-year contract. There's no clause in that contract. He's bound for another 3 years to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. He's very well paid, by the way, and he's on a lot of bonuses and XYZ. But he was under the impression, as we've all read now in the media and so on and so forth, that there was a some sort of gentleman's agreement that he could leave if we didn't get Champions League football. I think, you know, from a contractual perspective and his representatives, you know, more for them because they should have had that in writing somewhere. And I think now this is an opportunity for them to get that in writing for another contract or for another year. It gives the football club an opportunity to show this is our project, this is where we're going, this is what we want to do. Give us another year. And it also gives Harry an opportunity to be remunerated in a different way for that other year. Does that make sense, everybody? So really where we're sitting is that, you know, it also strikes me that in the meantime, while this has been happening and going on behind the scenes, and look, we never get to know. We never know what that deal is. You know, when it breaks in, if he signs a new contract, what will happen is he'll come out and say, I'm delighted. I was never leaving. I wanted a new contract. I love this football club. And they do a song, right? Of course, he's not going to come out and go, yeah, I wanted to leave, but, you know, the club offered me more money, so I stayed, or whatever it might be. That's not going to happen. So we'll only ever see the positive, which is fine. So it'd be Harry staying, he signed a new contract, committed to the club. But do I think there'd be a clause in there? I mean, they'd be absolutely mad not to put one in, wouldn't they? This is a perfect opportunity to say, right, we messed up last season with this gentleman's agreement. This season, we're going to sign something that gives us something to get a get out of jail free card or a Jack Grealish type scenario. But it also works for the football club because the football club then can say, right, we can plan for Harry's exit in a year's time. That's maybe why we're not spending the Harry Kane money on Martinez, but we're actually spending the Romero money on Martinez. Does that make sense? Because we didn't spend any money on Romero because he's a loan. So we've still got some money that we can go and spend on Martinez. Martinez is the longer term replacement for Harry if he does go. But if he doesn't go, it's a lovely problem to have, isn't it? And I'm not talking about going this season. I'm talking about next season. Yeah. So, you know, when you're going to lose your star striker, your star man, the poster boy, the Roy of the Rovers, you've got to have some time to prepare for that. And I just don't think that with everything that's gone on, I don't want to dredge it up, but with everything that's gone on with furlough, with ESL, with, you know, 70 days without a manager, 518 days not spend anything, etc., we cannot sell Harry Kane. We can't. And actually, we talked about this in the week, actually, and I'll be keen to get your views. Have your views changed on Harry? Like, you know, we all love Harry Kane. He's probably in my era the best player I've seen in a Tottenham shirt. Like, I absolutely love the guy to absolute death. But the way this has transpired has tarnished it a little bit. And I think that's been a bit disappointing. And maybe that was their angle. Maybe that was the reason. Like, it's easier to get a divorce, isn't it, if you don't like your wife or your husband anymore? Do you know what I mean? It's easier to get a divorce in that way. You know, it's very difficult to get divorced if you're still madly in love with them. Do you get what I mean? So maybe it was a kind of a detachment bit. But I think that for me, I think that the stories that are coming out in the mainstream media now are backing up what I heard, like I say, a week ago or so. And if that's and I trust that, and I think he'll stay.
Do you know, Lee, the only thing that bothers me about it, and I'm so glad that Harry Kane put that statement out, but the only thing that bothers me is the fact that statement could have said, I'm really looking forward to the new season. I'm really looking forward to the Manchester City game. I'm really looking forward to wearing that Tottenham Hotspur shirt again, and including, you know, something about his future. If you're going to put a statement out, be very, very clear and precise about your future and tell our fans exactly where we stand.
I agree. I totally agree with that. And I think the statement was almost like a holding pattern. That for me, again, just reading between the lines of these contracts and how they may or may not work, they're very complex. Maybe it's not signed. Maybe at that point when he put the statement out, it wasn't signed. But it was definitely a U-turn. There was definitely a U-turn starting to happen with that statement. And now you can see the U-turn. Even Sky Sports are U-turning. They're now U-turning on the narrative. Where's Harry Kane? Well, you know where he is now. Oh, he's training. You know, he now actually he might be available for Saturday. All of a sudden, he's available for Saturday. 3 days ago, he wasn't available for the first 3 weeks. So the U-turn has started to happen because actually now the vibes are coming out from the Harry Kane camp is going, well, actually, he might sign a new deal. And that's why the U-turn started to happen with that statement. I do agree with you. And if you notice on the statement, he didn't talk at all about the football club. He didn't say one thing about the club. He just talked about the fans. So maybe it was a holding pattern. But look, I'm gonna err on the side of optimism. I still think it might be a 70-30. In a 30, you might go 70, you might stay. I think the only other thing that's in. Sorry, I will shut up a minute. I swear. But the only other thing that I think is in our favour essentially is that they have just signed Jack Grealish. I mean, financially, this. Everyone who talks about the ESL and everyone got kicked off about the ESL and how terrible it is. You've got PSG just taking on Messi. You've got the best front three in world football ever. More money than sense. You've got the same with Man City. Chelsea can do whatever they want. These clubs are running the show. At some point, somebody's going to have to say enough is enough. You can't just keep going 100 million here, 50 million on Mendy as a left back and don't even play him. 50 million. You're just burning money. It's ridiculous. So I think that signing Jack Grealish and being in the situation we are and the club doing everything they can to keep Harry is all in our favour, and that's why I think he'll stay.
Craig, how are you feeling about it? Because it's funny, over the last couple of weeks, I think I've changed my mind about 4 or 5 times, thinking Harry Kane's going, no, he's actually staying, no, he's going, no, he's staying. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm probably more confident, like Lisa did. As soon as they signed Grealish, I thought, are they going to shell out 150, 160 million on Kane? What was telling for me, now, people might laugh at this, but they gave Grealish the 10 shirt. Now, don't get me wrong, they could quite easily give Kane the 9 shirt and tell Jesus, is it Jesus? I think had it last year. Sorry, we're giving your shirt away. Or you're going to Tottenham in a swap deal. I think Kane personally would want to wear 10. So to give Grealish the 10 shirt, it was quite 10. If they give Grealish some other number, I would have been a bit more concerned. I know that seems like a minor point, but it's just a little part of the puzzle. Do you know what I mean? As for Tottenham spending money, are we spending the Kane money? We did, Lee might know a bit more about this than me, and you might, Chris, as well, but we did some refinance deal, didn't we? So we basically got back somehow all the money we've lost during COVID. And from what I hear, and don't claim to be in the know at all, but a stadium naming rights deal is on the way. It's close. We bought in that guy, didn't we, to get that done. So there's a hell of a lot of money coming in. And the was it Romero deal is on loan, like Lee said. So essentially we haven't paid for him. So you're right, there is money floating around. We actually haven't spent that much if you take into account the players we've got off the books, the Bale wages, Danny Rose is off, Lamella's off. I don't know what Hill's on. Do you like that?
I mean, great. Just that was 31 million for this coming season that's off the wages. So we've saved, just by the players going out of the football club, 31 million this season. This upcoming season. That's a shit amount of money, isn't it?
That is not a small amount, and
it's growing.
So, yeah, it's growing. So, we're not necessarily spending the Kane money, is what I'm getting at. Going back to Harry Kane, there was a definite desire there. I thought it was piss poor that interview with Neville came out. You could see how it affected the squad. The cuddle with Dele Alli and Son at the end of the season was telling. I must have been at that point. I thought he's gone, and that's it. Him coming out saying he wanted his future decided before the Euros. Well, that was never, ever going to happen, and that didn't happen, obviously. The Euros came about, and I kind of forgot about it because we was all wrapped up in that. And then, you think, right, okay, we can get this sorted finally. And I think the lack of information from both the club, not that the club had to say anything, but from Kane, no tweets at all, nothing. Bit disappointed, to be honest. So in answer to your question, I've come back round to answering your question, Chris. I was disappointed in Harry, to be honest with you. Now, whether that was me being a fan that doesn't want to see him leave, and why would you want to see your talisman leave, or was that just me wishing, he's good, or let him go. If he wants to go, let him go. I'm fed up with it now. That's where I was about a week ago, and now I'm at a point, well, I think he's going to stay. So if you're asking me, I think he is going to stay. But the club are going to have to, and what Lee said makes perfect sense. They're going to have to offer him something to stay, whether that be higher wages for a year, or a bung of 12 million, or a promise that if somebody comes in next summer with 120 million, you can go, Harry, thank you very much. But then again, what you got to remember, Haaland's going to be available for 70 million next summer. Now, are City going to go for Haaland? Harry Kane's going to be 29. Personally, I think if Harry Kane, I've always said this, if he stays this summer, he's going to be here for good. And Lee, I totally agree with what you said on the last word on Spurs. You're already a legend. Come out, sign the new deal, and say how much you love the club, and go down in history as the club's top scorer. Go down in history as an absolute legend that pulled Spurs back in contention, and you know that legacy. Have a stand named after you, like you said. Imagine that, the Harry Kane stand. And people might laugh. People might laugh at this. We are going to win a trophy sooner rather than later. We have to, or else Chris's head is going to explode. I tell you, because it's going to happen, and it's going to happen if Harry Kane stays. And for him to come out, I just want that to happen. I want him to come out saying, "I love Tottenham Hotspur. I'm staying for another season, and I'm going to push on with this team. And you know, I am going to be the player that I've always tried to be, and the player you want me to be." And yeah, I can't say anything else about it, but I was disappointed with him. I still am a little bit, but let's be honest, we're all Tottenham fans. We're a bit fickle. And if he comes out and says, "I'm staying for another year," I'm back in love with the guy. Totally. I haven't fallen completely out of love with him. But
we are Tottenham Hotspur fans. We're not Harry Kane fans. So, you know, right. By me saying earlier about being ruthless, if we do need to sell Harry Kane, then, you know, it's going to happen one day where he's going to leave the club. So, should it be this summer? Should it be this summer?
Well, if you're looking at it from a business perspective, right, 160 million, you get given 160 million for somebody. Let's be honest, nobody's worth 160 million. I'll tell you what, if Harry Kane's worth 160 million, if Neymar's worth 200 million, who I've always said he's a good footballer, don't get me wrong, overrated though, in my opinion. Harry Kane, there should be a 2 in front of that figure, right? So you get 200 million for Harry Kane, thank you very much. As long as we don't spend it on a load of overpriced crap like we did last time. Yes, we got Eriksen, you know, absolutely. But we misspent that money. We know we did. And if we get that money, hello, Gary. If we get that money, and if Kane does go, I'd put it this way: I trust Parategy to spend that money more wisely than we did before. That's the only thing. So, you know, if he goes, Chrissy goes, and I think I'm like everybody. I just want this sorted sooner rather than later. And do you remember a few years ago when Ronaldo was at Man United and Fergie came out and said, "Right, that's it. He ain't going anywhere. Done. Nobody bid for him because you're just going to get a no." And that was it. It was finished. It was done with. And I think it will get to a point, it should have got to a point by now, where Daniel Levy or Parategy or Nuno comes out and says, "Harry Kane is a Tottenham Hotspur player. He's staying at our club." And that is it. And then you deal with it. And Ronaldo, to be fair to him, got on with it, and they sold him the next year. Fair enough. But
yeah, and I think that could happen. That absolutely, I could see that happening. And I think if we go and have a really good, fantastic season this year, which is, you know, a big if, but if we do and we end up getting in the top 4, only 5 points off it last year on a shocking season, by the way, viewers, then actually it probably end up staying. Do you know what I mean? Because he wants Champions League football. He wants to be on the biggest stage. Yes, he wants to win trophies. I don't think he's sitting there going, "Spurs haven't given me an opportunity to win a trophy." Let's be honest about it. Gareth Bale could have been probably saying that. How many finals did we get to with Gareth Bale when he was here the first time around? You know, whereas with Harry Kane, he's been in 2 League Cup finals, been in 2 FA Cup finals, 2 league challenges, been in the big one, the Champions League final. We have had opportunities to win trophies with Kane. So I think for him, it's about being on the top stage, making himself even better. And actually for him to be able to do that, he needs to be playing. I personally don't think, I know I'm totally biased when I say this, completely, everyone listening and watching, but I don't think he suits City. I'll be honest with you. You know, when does City ever play with an out-and-out striker? They just don't do it. Even when Aguero was their club legend, his agent come out, his father come out and said crocodile tears from Pep Guardiola, because they didn't even get on. He didn't even really like the fella, like playing for him, and he's a club legend. Like you said, I think, you know, obviously Melvin got to come on to you and get your view on it. But for me, I just think that to create a proper legacy, to be the man, to do it in a Tottenham shirt, beat Jimmy Greaves' record and Alan Shearer's Premier League record, sign a new contract, stat Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, and the trophies will come.
Yeah, Lee, what do you think? Very quickly, sorry, Melvin, but what do you think about Pep's comments? Well, all of you really. What do you think of Pep's comments when he just come out and said, "Yeah, we want to sign him, we'd like to sign him, but Tottenham don't want to." Whatever it was he said. Do you think that was disrespectful, or do you think it was a bit refreshing to hear? I personally think Pep went down in my estimation. It's a bit like, oh, I can't. But Manchester City seem to think they've got this God-given right to be able to sign anybody because they're Manchester City, and that is what annoys me. That's what annoys me.
The thing is, he spent £1 billion on transfers since Pep's been there. You know, Pep Guardiola as well. You talk about disrespectful or whatever. Look at Barcelona, the state of Barcelona of what they are now. And Pep Guardiola was at the helm for how long? 5-6 years, where they won everything and done everything they needed in the game. Fair play to them. But look at the state of them now. You know, the amount of overspend that they've done, mismanagement of the club, the COVID and the pandemic's hurt them for sure. But, you know, actually to go to clubs and just literally spend. That was the point I was making earlier. You want to go and buy Jack Grealish because you can. You've got Bernardo Silva. You've got Kevin De Bruyne there. You've got Phil Foden. What's he thinking? You just signed Jack Grealish. What's Phil Foden thinking? They're playing the same position. You know, Raheem Sterling. Look, I'm all for improving your squad. But from a point of view of we can just spend that money. He's got a clause. Let's go get him. That's what it feels like. It feels like that's what PSG do. And look, maybe it's because we haven't got all of that money, and I'm jealous about it or whatever. But I do think that financial fair play was brought in to stop all of that, and they just do what they want. And I think it's disrespectful.
Melvin, let's come to you on the Harry Kane situation. I want to know when you think the tweet will come out from Tottenham Hotspur Football Club showing him training at Hotspur Way. When will the tweet come out from Harry Kane saying he's looking forward to the season? Jack writes on screen now, I've been told Harry Kane will sign a new contract. What's your take on this whole Harry Kane situation?
No, I think I've been going through like the 7 stages of grief with Harry Kane. I was like shocked, and I went through the whole thing. I was sick when I was seeing those tweets from Sky Sports. Once they pick up on the story, they hate us, Sky Sports, and even most media. They just have this agenda against Tottenham, and it's like, when will Harry Kane leave, and for how much, and how is he going to link up with these players at City? It's so disrespectful towards our club. And I think if we keep him, it's a real statement from Spurs and from Daniel Levy that, we're growing as a club, we're a serious club, and it's something that I'd like to see us do. Hold on to one of the best strikers in the world, not even the Premier League, in the world, because he is one of the best strikers. And if we keep him, we're not going to hand him off to Manchester City in his prime. He's 28. He's had one of the best seasons under Jose, and I think he can have another one with Nuno. Why not? I think he can easily, in his mind, say, listen, they can easily fix the situation if they, what Lee said, offer him what he wants. New deal. If we're not in the Champions League next season, there could be these things ironed out. If we get the money we feel is right for you at this age, the club is in a very, very powerful position. He has 3 years left on his contract. Where's he gonna go? We're his agent, his brother, signed. I think they were a bit naive when they signed that deal. They're dealing with, Daniel Levy. The man is ruthless at these things. Alex Ferguson said, getting his hip replaced, I think, was easier than dealing with Daniel Levy. The guy you think City were going to walk in with 100 million and get Harry Kane. I think City were naive as well, and it was never
disrespectful, isn't it, Melvin? It's almost disrespectful for there. I mean, not being funny. If you're going to go and buy the best striker in the world, put the money down. We know you've got the money. You keep, we know exactly how you throw it about. You spent £1 billion on transfers. Why can't you come and put the money down? This would be a different conversation if City had gone, bang, there's 160, 170. And by the way, that 160 figure is only coming to our heads because it was plastered all over the front page of the Sun. Why is it 160? It should be 200. This guy is absolutely unbelievable and about to get even better. Like you say, he's in his prime. 200 million people. And again, Craig, you make a phenomenal point about Haaland. If Haaland's available for 70 million next year, where does that leave? Harry Kane has to stay at Tottenham Hotspur. You know, it's his legacy and it's what he's got to do.
Perhaps say 200 million, Lee. That's why Pep Guardiola's so upset about it.
Yeah, maybe.
Tough titty. I'm sorry, Pep. You don't get your own way. And that's for the Kane's contract.
Guys,
I might sound a bit bad here, but as Melvin said, you signed the bloody contracts. It was your fault. You could read that. You go over contracts with a fine-tooth comb. It's no different. Well, it is a bit different, but it's no different to buying a new car, right? You get a new contract. I'll go down to Peugeot, right? Peugeot, not Range Rover. I don't, and I'll get a new car. And halfway through it, I think, I don't want this anymore. Sorry, you can give the car back then. Well, no, I want to keep the car. Well, sorry, don't work like that, mate. You try and get out. Go try and get out of an O2 contract. You can't. That's because they're watertight. I'm sorry, his contract, whoever his brother advised him, sorry, it was crap. It was done crap. I'm sorry, now you're moaning about it. Sorry.
Melvin,
Melvin.
The only sorry. The only positive thing, because I really want to get this point across, I don't want to forget it. The only positive thing that I can see through this whole thing, I think Kane is banging the drum for the Spurs fans in a way, because the club is not showing the ambition that he is. And I think we should be in a position by now that we're competing for the league, competing for the Champions League, and competing for these trophies. Our motto is to dare is to do. But when it came to things on the pitch, we didn't follow our motto, did we? When it came to the stadium and to the training ground and all these facilities that we have, it's to dare is to do. Only the best will do. We have the best stadium in the world with some of the best technology. But when it comes to the pitch, we don't follow the motto. And I feel that Kane is forcing the club to act now. And in a way, if we keep Kane and we get the enforcements that we need, maybe Kane will see, listen, this is the only positive spin I can put on it, what Kane is doing. He's making Daniel Levy realize that if he's not showing the same ambition that he is, I'm going to leave, and I don't blame him for doing it, because Kane, he has the mentality in a way of Michael Jordan. If you look at the documentary Michael Jordan did, he was angry at the franchise when they weren't in the playoffs or they didn't believe that they were going to win. It's the same mentality. He has that mentality that we have to win and we have to win now. And that's the only positive thing that I can see coming out of this. Us getting better signings, focusing on the pitch, better recruitment, spending our money wisely, whatever assets we have in the club that we can move on, we're going to try to shift them on this season. And we're even looking at, young, promising players like Golini and Brian Hill. So I think in a month and a half, I think the club have done a very good job, because we've had a very, very poor end of the season. And since Fabio Paratici have come in, they've done a very good job, because I feel that the fan base is starting to turn and we're starting to believe again. And we're going to fight this season and we're going to fight to keep Kane, and we're going to fight against, Manchester City's oil money, and we're going to do it our way. We're going to follow financial fair play. And
what a great take, Melvin, on that subject. Like, I've never thought of it in that way, that he's holding a stand up for Tottenham's benefit, not for his own. And, it's a really good take. That's making me want him to stay even more, Melvin, to be fair. Maybe
if that's true. If that is true, I agree. I think there's more to it personally, but I would like to believe that what Melvin said is the case. I really would. And we will find out. It will come out. I'm sure it will.
You're certainly right there, Melvin. There has been a lot of positivity around the club in the last month or so, which is a breath of fresh air, particularly after the last couple of years that we've had. Now, Lee, let's come to you. Let's talk about the Manchester City game. Of course, we face the champions at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this Sunday, 4:30 p.m. kickoff. How are you feeling ahead of this game? And do you think Tottenham Hotspur can pick up the 3 points?
I'm feeling pretty positives. It's my birthday on Saturday, right? So feel free to send me messages at Lee McQueen on Twitter. If you want in the know as well. Now, obviously, I'm in the know person as well, so follow me at Lee McQueen. No, I mean, jokes aside, it's my birthday on Saturday, and I'll be honest with you, when the fixtures came out, I just rolled my eyes and thought, oh, for God's sake, that's on my birthday. It's ruined it. But then Sky done us a favour by moving the game to the Sunday, and I thought, wow, at least I can have a decent birthday and then, go through the pain of watching Tottenham and Man City first game of the season. But I have to be honest with you, like we've been talking all night, I think that we've got a chance. And the reason why I think that is I'm Mr. Positive anyway, so I always want to go into the match like a bit like you, Chris, thinking that we're going to win the football match and be positive, and I think that's important. I think we've had a decent pre-season, as we talked about before, and we look a lot fitter. I think that if the news that Kane was wanting to leave before the Aston Villa game had a bad effect on it, the news that he might sign a new contract before the Man City game is going to have an absolute amazing effect on the dressing room, on the team, and on the fans, and so on and so forth. It's at home. It's going to be the first time for a lot of people that he's been back in a full stadium at the new White Hart Lane, as I call it, and that's phenomenal. And to be honest, lads and viewers, we've got a fantastic record against Man City, especially in our ground. The phenomenal goal that Son scored. That we beat them 1-0 in the Champions League. We beat them 2-0 when Celso went through, didn't he? He scored the second. Bergwijn's first goal as well. We scored that in a 2-0 win. So actually, the last 3 times we've faced them at White Hart Lane, or the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, we've actually beaten them. So I think that we've got a lot to be positive about. I think the other thing as well, it's in a little bit, maybe I'm clutching at straws here, people, but the other thing is that Man City last season really struggled at the beginning of the season. They were really poor for the first 6 or 7 games. And actually, we were the reverse of that. I know we lost our first game against Everton, ironically, which everyone expected us to win. Maybe everyone's expecting us to lose. As Craig said, our expectations are on us high this year. So maybe we're being expected to lose. Maybe with a full crowd. Maybe with Man City not at full pace. I don't think they've got a couple of players, I think I read earlier, that are out. De Bruyne's out. It's always a difficult one for them. We know Aguero's not there anymore, and so on and so forth. So, look, I think we've got a chance. And I think that personally, going back to what Melvin said earlier about Romero, we have to try and get that fella on the pitch. Because for me, football and sport is all about momentum. And if he starts that game and is brilliant against Manchester City, he will have an absolute outstanding season. Now, if we start the game with Sanchez and Dyer and Reguilon and Sergio Aurier, for example, that's or dare I say Ben Davies at left back to have the exact back four that we've had for years, that's going to worry a lot of Spurs fans.
Give me your team. If you could pick the starting 11 for Sunday's game, who would it be?
Well, so just quickly, I'll pick my starting 11, but based on, you can't say, oh, they're not fit. So this would be my starting 11. I'd actually pick Galini. I'm not even lying to you. I would actually pick Galini in goal. I actually would, because I just don't think that Hugo. That's just about fitness. I don't think Hugo Lloris is fit enough. Maybe I'm being a dick. Right? Okay. Hugo Lloris in goal. Sergio Reguilon. I'd pick Romero, and I would probably pick. I'd probably pick Dyer with Romero as it stands at the moment, and I'll play Tanganga at right back. That'd be my defence. I'd probably play the front if Harry Kane is staying, right? And
right back. I forgot the right back.
Right back. No, Tanganga. Yeah, I'll play Tanganga at right back. And if Harry Kane's staying, he's obviously playing. So I'll play Son, Kane, and Dele. And then my midfield would be Skip and Højbjerg with probably Lo Celso.
So you do think Harry Kane will start this match then, Lee?
Well, if you said if he's available, like we're saying, if he's staying, he's available because he's fit. The bloke's never not fit, is he? Let's be honest about it. So if he's staying in the football club and he's available to pick, 100%, I'll be picking him. 100%. Best striker in the world against Man City, who he's been linked with all summer. Sky would love that, wouldn't they? Harry Kane scores the winner. My word. So that would be my pick.
Craig, how are you feeling about this game, and what would your starting 11 be?
Starting 11's fairly easy. It'd actually be exactly the same as Lee's, actually. So I'm glad that he said that. and remembered all the names, to be honest, because I've done these before. I think I've picked 12 players and nobody picked up on it when I watched it back on the video.
I think I picked 12 players there, didn't I? I don't know.
Perhaps that's the way we could win the game.
Romero will be playing. So, Lee,
No.
would you put Davinson Sanchez in there?
He's not playing Romero. Is that what you're hearing? I mean, after Sanchez's falling on his face situation, you know, with Gundogan against City last time around when we got battered 3-0, not really, if I'm honest. Well, who else do you play there? Rodon? I mean, the thing is, look, Rodon hasn't had a pre-season, had 15 minutes. Why is Nuno not playing Rodon? You know, it feels strange to me. We're talking about, you know, him not playing Tunga and Dembele. I mean, Dembele, he can't start, can he, against City? He hasn't even had a pre-season at all. Maybe I was a bit harsh on Lucas with Lo Celso. Maybe Lucas starts in that middle kind of berth. But, I mean, who else do you go? Maybe you play Tanganga. I mean, who do you play? Maybe you play Doherty at right back and Tanganga as a centre-back with Eric Dyer rather than Sanchez. I don't know. What do you boys think?
I think he'll go. I think he would go.
I wouldn't.
Probably with Sanchez. I think he'll go with Sanchez and Dyer, and he'll put Tanganga right back if he's fit. I'm glad you said Lucas there because I think I would pick Lucas. I think he's going to go with Lucas. From what I've seen of Lucas, he's had a good pre-season. Yeah, and Lo Celso perhaps come on 60 minutes gone. So, in answer to your question, Chris, I'm feeling quite confident actually, and it's stupid, isn't it? Really, you know, we do this on these chats. We'd have one on the Sunday after we've been spanked. Oh, we're going to lose to Liverpool. And then by Thursday, when we have another one, you know what, we're going to win, come on, instead. So, but when you look at everything, what a game to have. I think what a time to play City. First game back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, full capacity crowd, and linked with a club who have behaved not ideally, or they're certain the manager behaved ideally. The fans are going to be mental anyway because it's the first game back. It's City, a club who your talisman has been linked with all summer. The players are going to buy into that. They're going to think, no, we're going to show them why Harry Kane should be stuck. If they've got anything about them, they'll be thinking, no, we're going to show why Harry Kane should be staying with us and not going to you. The players are going to be up for it, and I just think with the players they're going to have missing. You can never write City off, of course you can't, but we've got as good a chance as any to beat City. They're not fast starters, and I think what a game to have first game, get it out of the way almost. I wouldn't say it's a free hit because if we want to be challenging, we've got to be beating the likes of City, all the teams in the Big Six. But if I could have probably chosen a game, bizarrely, I probably would have chosen a City or something like that first game of the season because why not? Why not? Let's get it out of the way, let's get it done, and let's beat them, and then we can push on from there. And I think everything in the garden will be a bit more rosier if we do manage to get a result.
How incredible would it be that we started off with 3 points against the champions? It really would be fantastic. Melvin, let's come to you and get your take on the Manchester City game on Sunday. And who would be your Tottenham Hotspur captain? Because personally, I would like to see a change of captain, and I would love Pierre-Emile Højbjerg to wear the captain's armband on Sunday and for this coming season. What about you?
I don't know. I think Hugo's a World Cup winner. He's the current captain. I think I would leave him for the last. I think it's going to be his last season with Galini coming in. I think that's made it very clear. It's already a solution to next year's problem, which is something we don't do at this club. We usually leave it to the last second, and we already have a replacement to Hugo Lloris, which is refreshing and incredible to have Galini because he's already played in the Champions League. He played a whole season for Atalanta. He's a very young goalkeeper and he's very, very good. But the captaincy, I'll leave it to Hugo. I'll give him his last season. For the lineup against City, I don't think he should start Harry Kane, even though he is one of the best strikers in the league. I think the work that Nuno has done with our front four, I think it just sends the wrong message to the squad. I think we should play the exact same way we played against Arsenal. Keep the same front four. Maybe they'll swap one or two, but I'll leave it to Nuno. But I don't think we should just bring him in straight away. I think if he's available to be on the bench, give you 30 minutes, 40 minutes if we need a goal, we might not even need him. Who knows? We might be ahead and we might need to defend. But I wouldn't play him. It just sends the wrong message. Maybe he's not in the right frame of mind. I think coming off the bench would relieve some of the pressure, and even within the squad, maybe there's not the best harmony right now with Kane. Maybe there's some uncertainties. I would just keep the exact same front line. I think Bergwijn has been putting in a shift all preseason. Dele's been working hard. Lucas has been working hard. Son and these guys, they all deserve to start. And I would just keep the same. Even though going forward, I think, probably will be better off playing Kane. But for the squad's sake and for the message it sends to the team, and I think I would put him on the bench and maybe bring him on if we need a goal.
Now, final two questions for you. Will Harry Kane be in the starting 11 against Manchester City on Sunday? And what is your score prediction? Lee, let's start with you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Well, he definitely won't be in the starting 11 for Man City on Saturday. That's an absolute definite. So there's a lot of speculation that might be the case. That clearly won't be the case. Yes, he will. And again, Melvin, I'm finding myself agreeing with you and then disagreeing with you. I totally agree with what you just said again there about Harry Kane maybe coming in from the bench, the message it sends. And I didn't think of it that way. I just thought of it purely from the fact that if he's about to sign a new contract and that gets announced this week, he will start. So, for me, he does. Score prediction, I think I'm going to go 1-1. Sorry to be a bit but I think I'm going to go 1-1. I think that, I would snap your hand off for that now and move on. Like Craig said, not a loss. I think you start off. I think we play well. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I think we could nick it. I think we've got a decent enough opportunity to do that. No, I'm changing it. I can't go for a draw. I'm going to go for a win. We're going to win 2-1. 2-1 Tottenham Hotspur.
Love it, Lee. That's why I love having you on this.
I can't do it, Chris. I can't do it.
I know. It's that's exactly how I feel. I wouldn't go out my house. In the morning of a game, I wouldn't go out the house if I thought that Tottenham Hotspur were going to lose. That's why a lot of people get frustrated with me on this channel, saying, "How on earth are you saying that Tottenham Hotspur are going to win these games?" Because I'm going for a Spurs win on Sunday. Because I'm not leaving my house until I'm thinking that we're going to win.
What's your prediction then? What are you going for, Chris?
I'm going to go for a 1-0 Tottenham win. And you know what? Interestingly, Manchester City have never scored a goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, as you rightly pointed out earlier, Lee. Didn't want to mention that, but no, I'm going to go for a 1-0. I'm feeling confident. So, we've got to believe that we can do it. And just imagine getting the 3 points against the champions on Sunday. I tell you what, it would really set us up.
Very massive momentum.
Yeah, it really would. Craig, what are you going with?
I was actually going to go. I'm not copying Lee, but I was going to say 2-1 to Tottenham. I can't bet against it, so to speak. You would take a draw, let's be honest. Whether that's 0-0, 1-1, 2-2, whatever it is. But I genuinely think we got a chance. And if I didn't think we had a chance, I would say I thought we was going to lose. So I think I'm going to go for 2-1. Do I think Kane's going to start Sunday? I don't think he will. That's not to say he won't be in the squad. But watch this space. I have to say, just a big shout out to always been a big fan of Dele Alli. He's put in the work in the pre-season. You can see how much work, sort of like just to bulk himself up. He's really put in the effort. So, and he obviously saw what happened with England over the summer, and he must have been sitting there watching those games, thinking that should have been me. That should have been me. So, fair play to Dele Alli. Hope he has a great season. And what's Neil said there? Chris predictions. yeah. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Do you know what, Neil? That's not strictly true. I think I went for 2 draws last season as well. So it was only 30.
I'm beaten. Invincibles.
Melvin, how are you feeling about it?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna say 1-0. I think the teams are still not at their peak fitness, so I think it'll be I think it might be boring and a bit boring, and we'll nick it. It'll be one of those games where It'd just be difficult to create. Both sides will struggle, but I think we'll nick it 1-0.
Love it.
Chris, can I just say, I mean, I'm a season ticket holder, block 252. I haven't been to the stadium, obviously, for ages, like lots of other people as well. I'm in Spain at the moment, so I won't be there on Sunday either. I just want a happy birthday present from Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And please, fans, sing loud, get behind the football team and just be loud and sing and have an atmosphere down there that enables this great stadium that we've spent so much money on to play its part. We can have a part of this football club season, 100%. We can get behind the team, put all the negativity behind us and go for it behind the team. Don't just moans and groans about certain things. Get behind the team and give them full support for 93, 94 minutes. That's going to get us over the line to get us that win. Come on, Tottenham.
Exactly.
Can I just say one thing, Chris, before we go? I forgot to mention there when we was talking about Harry Kane. I don't want it to come across that I don't like the guy. I love the fella, and I think if he goes to City and he wins a cup, it's going to be almost an empty victory. Yeah, he'll have a cup, but it's not going to mean half as much as it would to win it with Tottenham. And on another point, and it's been said many times, I think the Spurs reaction to Saka when he come on Sunday was phenomenal. I thought that was absolute touch of class, and I think the Arsenal fans appreciated it. And to see an Arsenal player applaud a Tottenham crowd, it was fantastic. And a final point, Chris, that seemed to be a lovely lady from the Arsenal supporters trust or whatever it was on Sky today, when she said the guy asked basically who's going to finish above who. You did kind of put her in a place. She seemed like a very nice lady, but when you said North London was white, you said it with such conviction, and it was great to see. And I thought that was a great interview. And if nobody's watched that, go and watch it on Chris's channel, because it was really good interview. But really enjoyed tonight. Thanks for having me on, Chris. And as always, come on, you Spurs, in the words of Mr. Cowlin.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that Saka moment, Craig, because that was an absolutely fantastic moment at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And everyone, please do bombard Lee's Twitter on Saturday and wish him a happy birthday. But surely this season, has got to be about progression and going back in the right direction, because as the lads have said today, 2 years ago, we were in a Champions League final. Europa League football played last season, and we're just about to enter this brand new competition, the Europa Conference League. So, it's all about progression this year, and hopefully we can finish back in that top four and get Champions League football again. Just before we go, I would just like to say William Hill odds for the Tottenham Manchester City game. 1-0 Spurs win, you'd get 16-1. A 2-0 Spurs win, 33-1. 2-1. Which some of you went for, 18-1, and 3-0, 80-1. Harry Kane to score the first goal, you'd get 5-1. And Manchester City are 4-6 favourites to win the Premier League again. And Tottenham, if you're feeling, quite brave, Tottenham are 50-1 to win the Premier League. You fancy
50 times, was that?
Trophies are coming, Chris.
Was that 50?
All three of you have mentioned trophies, and I haven't tonight. What does that say?
Discipline.
Chris, did you say 50-1 Tottenham to win the Premier League?
50-1, yeah.
Well, I'm not saying I'm going to put a fiver on it, but that's surprising.
We could have a little book run in here after the show. Do you know what I mean? Put a kitty in and go and have a little bet on it.
That's it.
Can you? Sorry, very very quickly. If you was to ask me where I think the Spurs are going to finish this season as of this moment, I would actually say fifth. But that's dependent on other signings coming in.
Our average league finishing position across the entire history of the Premier League since 1992 is fifth. That is our average league position in finishing in all of the Premier League history. So, yeah, probably about right.
I didn't ask that question this evening because I think there's so much more to do in this transfer window of players heading out the door and new players coming in. So I don't really think that it's worth asking that question at the moment. But hopefully, as I say, the club progression and the direction, hopefully we can, get back into the top four, because surely that is the aim. Just want to thank everybody for all of their points and
just quickly, Chris. Stephen Dempster said it should be 200-1 to win the league. That made me laugh. Good effort, mate.
Well, Lee, have a wonderful birthday on Saturday and enjoy the rest of your holiday. And thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, no worries at all. And birthday wishes to you this week, isn't it, Chris?
It was yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday for yesterday. Yes, belated. I thought
so.
that.
I got an early birthday present of us beating the Arsenal on Sunday. So hopefully you will get the same on Sunday. Craig, thanks so much for joining us as usual.
No problem at all. Always a pleasure. Great fun and great to have another Spurs chat. So come on, you Spurs.
And Melvin, thanks so much as always.
Yeah, thank you guys. You know, it's always a pleasure to talk, and you just get more and more excited with each video, and hopefully we have a positive season this year, and maybe we'll win something. You never know.
Trophies coming.
Again.
They're coming.
Happy birthday, Chris. Happy birthday.
Thanks, everyone. Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, guys.
Cheers.